All right, good morning, and thank you for joining our Zoom today. You're here hopefully if you are a 10th grader at ISB or if you are planning to be an 11th grader next year at ISB. So not everybody who's coming into the 11th grade is necessarily currently at ISB right now. So welcome to all of you. This meeting is really important because there's going to be a change to your forecasting. We're going to ask all of our sophomores to reforecast their group 6, and Ms. Schuff will go into exactly what group 6 is. You should have a familiarity with it, but it's kind of like your elective in the diploma program, if you will. We had a couple of really tough decisions to make regarding a couple of our courses, and in the past we have tried to honor all the courses that we could that students voted with their course selections. And unfortunately, this upcoming year, we did not have enough students that showed an interest in the IB music choir class and the IB music band class. Now, make no mistake, our band and choir classes are still going to be mainstays here at ISB. For next year, though, it'll be an MYP, for the most part, MYP program. With that said, we've got an opportunity, and we want to make sure that we have everybody voting on what they would prefer to take for their group 6. And Ms. Schuff is going to be explaining to you a couple of the different. We've got a couple new classes that we're going to see. Maybe this will pique your interest, and they're pretty high interest classes, I would say. In some of them, if you already know, I want to do this class, and this is the class I already signed up for and it's still being offered, you're more than welcome to do that. We are going to ask you to put down not only your first selection, but also a runner-up, a second choice, and a third choice. Now, chances are all of the students are going to be getting their first or their second choice. We're going to try our best to make sure that all students get their first choice, but if not possible, we will go with a second choice. So Ms. Schuff, if you want to take over, go ahead and give a little description of all the courses that we're offering for our group 6.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I am your future IB diploma program coordinator. Not yet. Next year, you're mine. All next year and your senior year at ISB. My job is to ensure that the IB diploma program runs smoothly, to support you as you get through it, to support your teachers as they get through it, and to make sure all I's are dotted and T's are crossed, okay? So my office, just so you all know where I hang out. Does anyone know, actually? Does anyone know where I hang out at school?
You could tell us.
I know.
No
I could.
idea.
No idea? All right, do you guys know where Miss Hayward's office used to be? Exactly, Colin, right near the old front entrance of the school. It says IB office, it has my name. I'm in that back corner there. So currently Miss Velasco, yeah, next to Miss Plapp, exactly. So right now Miss Velasco is kind of right there in that room next to Miss Plapp, behind Miss Velasco's office. So that's where you'll find me. If you ever have questions or concerns, or you just want to chat, or you want to vent, that's where you'll find me, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to explain what group 6 is. And I kind of want to give you a super broad idea of what the diploma program is too, okay? So the IB diploma program is a 2-year course of study. It asks you to take 3 higher level courses and 3 standard level courses, okay? So the way it works at our school is, at our school, all of the courses are 2-year courses, and we don't really worry too much about the SL, standard level, or the HL, higher level, until October of your senior year, when you actually decide what you're going to register for. Once you figure out what you're going to register for your actual IB program, like what courses you're going to ask IB for course grades in, you're going to do all the official assessments for those courses. That's when you have to worry about the HL-SL thing, okay? So just want you to understand that. The other thing you need to do as an IB diploma candidate is you have to take Theory of Knowledge, which is a 2-semester course. You have to take extended essay, not take it, you have to do it, you have to complete it, an extended essay, which is an independently done research based analytical essay. And then you also need to do a creativity, activity, and service program, which is what you do outside of school. You can use school activities for part of that, but it's kind of the thing you do that keeps you a human, keeps you sane, and keeps you balanced. So that's the IB diploma program in a nutshell. And we will get into super detail about all this stuff in, usually we have a junior meeting for families and students. And that happens in September, October, and we'll invite everybody and we'll go over everything in depth. For students who have IB seminar first semester, junior year, I'll be coming in and doing a presentation there too and explaining things, okay? So every IB school that has a diploma program across planet Earth, they have to have courses from each of the different 6 groups. They have to offer what would be the language, the mother tongue of the school class. In our school, it's English. We speak English, so English is the school class. Even then, schools have options, right? So the options that ISB has is going to be different than the options that, say, Sunset High School offers, or that South Salem High School offers, or that Cleveland High School and Portland Public offers, right? So it's going to be based on the school community. It's going to be based on what we can offer given how our size. A very big IB program will offer 1 million courses. We can't do that. We're a tiny little school. Here we are. We have pretty much the entire sophomore class on this Zoom right here. So we do, though, want to have a robust offering for you. So that's kind of what today is about as well. So I'm going to share my screen and I want to kind of go over what these options are. Okay, so this is the deal. Group 1 is essentially English. Everyone at our school takes HL, higher level English, Lang and Lit. Group 2 is your acquired language. So everyone at our school will take either standard level or higher level, something or other regarding Spanish, Chinese, or Japanese. Some of you will actually take an ab initio class, which is like means from the beginning. It's sort of beginning of that language. Some of you won't. Some of you will take a 2 group 1. Some of you are doing self-taught. In fact, can you put into the chat right now if you're registered to take a self-taught language A? Maybe you have a mother language that's not English that you're going to be studying with Mr. Ruff as your teacher. So I got somebody doing Spanish. I think there's some Chinese, maybe I've heard. I think I might have heard something about Arabic. Is anyone that? I don't know. So there's a variety of different possibilities there. Group 3 is individuals and societies. Group 3, everyone will take history. And at our school, we do history of Asia. Group 4 is biology. Everyone does 2-year HL or SL bio, but it's a 2-year course regardless. Group 5 is your math, and your math will be just what the next level of math is for you. And then group 6 is your elective. All right. So let me make sure you're clear. So as part of the IB diploma program, all 11th and 12th graders study English. I just said all this, right? And an elective. Now, from what we can offer you for your elective is this. We can offer you IB Visual Arts, a 2-year course, IB Environmental Systems and Societies, IB Psychology, IB Global Politics, and IB Chemistry. If I have one thing I can say to you, it's this. You guys are taking the most robust, rigorous high school program out there in the world. And what we do at ISB, if you are willing to do the work, will prepare you for anything you want to do after high school. The group 6 class doesn't need to be more rigorous than you want it to be. You need to take a class that you are interested in and that you want to learn about the content and learn those skills. You're going to do it for 2 years. So you should do what you want to do, not what you think you ought to do. Let me give you an example. I have a friend, he is a sophomore at Stanford University. He went to a local IB school in Portland Public. He did Langen Lit for English. He did Spanish ab initio, which was like intro to Spanish, basically, for his group 2. Group 3, he did history. Group 4, he did biology. Group 5, I think he did what would be the equivalent of MAISL. So that means if you had like AGS 1 in 9th grade, AGS 2 sophomore year, like the equivalent of AGS 3 junior year, and then MAI senior year, that he did that. And for his group 6, he chose to do anthropology, which we don't offer at ISB. That's what he did. He got into Stanford and he's pre-med. There are a lot of ways to get where you want to go. You should take a class that you're stoked about, that you're interested in. You will get better grades in classes that you're interested in and that you have a little bit of a passion for, right? So that's what I want you to know. All right, enough of my little story here. All right, I want to talk about the assessments because I'm going to lay it out for each one of your group 6 possibilities. All right, every IB course for your 6 subjects result in a variety of assessments. There are internal assessments. They're also called IAs, internal assessment, and external assessments. So internal assessments are sort of designed to be performances specific to a particular academic discipline. So let me give you an example of that. So what's the performance that a historian does? What's the thing that historians do? They research, right? So the historical investigation, it's a history research project. That's the IA. What's the performance that a scientist does? They do labs, right? They go research something that's interesting to them and write up a lab about that. So that's the IA for biology. So that's what I mean by performance. So when we get into the group 6s, you'll really see what I'm talking about, right? The internal assessments are assessed by your teacher, by the classroom teacher, and then we send the scores to IB. IB looks at the scores and then they ask for a moderation, high, medium, and low to make sure that your teachers are on track as far as understanding the assessment tools, okay? So that's the deal with the IA. There are also external assessments, and this is a variety of different things where you show the examiners all over the world what skills and content you have learned. So in English, for example, you're going to write an essay that your teachers don't assess. This essay gets sent out into the world, and someone in Bolivia or Bogota, Colombia, or maybe in Prague, the Czech Republic, or maybe in Kansas City, Missouri, I don't know, some examiner somewhere is going to be assessing that and giving you marks on it, okay? So you got internal and external assessments. All right, so I'm going to go through each of the different offerings for group 6 so you can know exactly what's involved in that course. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is visual arts. Visual arts is something that can be taken SL or HL. It gives you an option. So if you decide in October of your senior year, history is the death of me, or I can't do bio, it's so hard, you can SL in bio if you have an HL option. Remember, I said you have to have 3 SLs and 3 HLs. So visual arts is one of those courses that gives you elbow room as far as choosing what your HLs are going to be. So essentially, you've been doing MYP art, visual art, draw, paint, sculpture, all the different things. And basically, you come out of that class, those courses rather, 6th grade through 10th grade, having had kind of a rich intellectual and creative experience. And it just continues for another 2 years, right? There are 3 major assessments that you have to do for IB visual arts. The IA, what is the performance of an artist? They develop a portfolio, an exhibition, and it's publicly exhibited, right? So this is you develop art pieces over the course of the 2-year program. The external assessment, there's 2 of them. One is a comparative study where you analyze and compare different artworks by different artists, okay? And you kind of look at style and technique, and you look at like the historical background of those artists, and then you look at the links. And I think that the comparative study is something also that you bring into your own artwork as well. That's part of it. There's also the second external assessment this is basically external. Number 2 is essentially your exam in IB world. You put together a bunch of slides which shows your own journey for your own artwork. Here's my experimentation, my exploration. Here's how I've messed around with different techniques. I manipulated them and I've refined. And there's a bunch of different arts activities, etc. Okay, so that's IB Visual Arts, 2-year course. The exam is the external 2, and then the IA is right here, this exhibition. And then this is sort of a paper that you write, but doesn't have to be a classic paper. There's a lot of options for how you go about doing that. Okay, IB Visual Arts. Number 2, this is called ESS. This is an SL class. It's only offered SL, and it's a 2-year SL, as they all are 2 years. Environmental Systems and Societies really asks you to consider this is environmental science, essentially. How does the environment shape human behavior? And then how does human behavior shape the environment? I just read in the New York Times yesterday that all of the national parks in the United States are having to make decisions about what are we going to try to preserve and conserve, and what are we going to just let go of because climate change is happening and we can't do it all. So what do we, like Joshua Tree, it's named Joshua Tree National Park. Joshua trees are dying. What do we do about that? What's the ecosystems that we're going to put our energy into, and what are we going to let go of? So that's what this class is, right? So the possible topics are like how human population dynamics work, how energy is used, food systems, water resources, soil pollution, air pollution, water pollution, climate change, sustainability. This is relevant. This is hot. This is what's in the news every day. This is your life. This is your future. You're young and it's your planet. I'm out of here in 30 years. So this is what this class is. There's an IA. The internal assessment asks you to come up with a research question that you want to study, and that is specific to the environment as well as society. So this class kind of counts for your group 3, individuals and societies, but also for a science, a group 4 course. So it's kind of this interdisciplinary mesh. And then you kind of do this investigation for it. There are the external assessments. There are 2 exams, and in IB world, papers are exams. And it asks you to show your understanding of the course you do a case study for one of the exams, and you do essays for the other exams. Okay, so that is that course. I'm not even looking at the chat. I see there's some stuff there. We'll get to questions after. Okay, the next thing is psychology. Psychology really asks you to understand biological behavior, cognitive behavior, and sociocultural behavior, because it's like, what is it that creates how human beings are in the world, right? You also learn how psychological research is generated, developed, and applied. So it's really interesting. You learn stuff in these 3 different lenses to try to understand, like, why is it human beings can't remember stuff or do remember stuff? And it's, well, you basically study theories to try to get at understanding what possible things are. You can't prove anything in a social science, so all you do is try to look for strong relationships and try to see which theories make the best sense and then make sense of them. In the IA is kind of interesting. You basically take a psychological experiment connected to a theory, and you replicate that, run that experiment, you analyze your own results, and you make sense of it. So it's an extended lab report, much the same way that a psychologist would do a lab report. The external assessments, there's 2 exams which ask you to show your understanding of these core approaches to psychology. It's a particular kind of writing too that you have to do. Okay, that's psychology. It is an SL only course. Also, SL is global politics. So global politics basically is the world of political science. which is also a human science. And it asks you to explore these fundamental political concepts like power and equality and sustainability and peace, things like that, in a range of different lenses, I guess you could say. Global lens, national lens, local context. That's a lens as well. And so how do politics play out? What does it mean to be a political being? And how does it all work together? So it's an interesting course. It's very timely always, as you can well imagine, very relevant. There are 2 assessments. One is a research-based essay, where you basically ask a question that is about a current political issue. It's a current event topic, and you try to understand it through these various concepts and lenses. And then there are 2 exams in May of your senior year that ask you to show your understanding of these core units of the course. Okay, that's global politics, SL only. All right, Chem, also an SL course. IB Chem is what you've been doing in STEM Chem up to this point, and it asks you to, the IA is you do a chemistry lab, you do an experiment, you analyze the results, and you're working an extended lab report. In the external, there are 3 exams. The first one is a multiple choice exam where you either know the stuff or you don't. And then the other 2 papers are short answer questions. That basically, it's a lot of memorization, but it is chemistry and you do have background in that already. So this is the one I feel like I don't need to explain because you have a sense of it. Okay, so that is my PowerPoint. And I'm going to stop the share. Let's see what the chat has. Okay. And the interesting question, somebody asked, can you tell us which teachers are teaching each class? This is a really important question because here's the deal with schools. Teachers come, teachers go, and decisions are made. Sometimes that's outside of our hands. I got to tell you guys, in 2012, it was a crazy year in the Beaverton School District, and think about this for a second, 70% of the staff at ISB got transferred out with new people coming in. 70% of the staff. And everyone suddenly is like, okay, I'm teaching this now. I guess I have to figure this out. And you get through it. Teachers get through it and students get through it well. And that class of 2012 did really, really, really well. And the class 2013 did really, really, really well. And many of those teachers are still with us at our school today. So you don't know what's going to be with teachers. I would not recommend signing up for a class based on a teacher, because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to do the work. You're the one who's doing the homework. You're the one who's doing the IAs. You're the ones doing the external assessments. You're the one doing the studying. And so if you like the teacher, that helps. But again, there's no guarantee teachers will be with us. People get married, they have kids, they take a year off because of whatever. You just don't know what's going to be. All right, more questions. For the external assessments, do multiple evaluators around the world take a look at your work, or is it just one person, kind of like luck of the draw? Luck of the draw, friend. Period. That's it. You just, I'm an examiner myself for extended essay, and I just get 100 of them and crank them out, so the 100 I get are the 100 I get. There's other people also grading other allotments, they're called. Okay. What were the first 2 classes? The first 2 classes were, I believe, we will put the PowerPoint link in the, all right. So you had visual arts, which is SL or HL, and environmental systems and society was the other one. Okay. That's that question. When will we know whether there are enough people? We'll probably know pretty soon. We're going to ask you to complete this forecasting thing, which I'm going to put into the link in a moment, into the chat. I'll put the link in the chat. You have a week to talk to teachers, to check in, to email people, to talk with your parents, to look into whatever you want to look into. We want this completed, though, by next Wednesday. Earlier is fine, but no later than Wednesday. After Wednesday, we're going to start reaching out to you. When will we know if okay, what's the biggest part of psych? Well, it's a combo. It's interesting. You have to do all three approaches: cognitive, biological to behavior, approaches to behavior, cognitive, biological, and also sociocultural. And once you start doing it, you'll see that the studies start repeating, because it's like, now we're going to look at it this way, now we're going to look at it that way. And then we also have an option that we do, that I choose to do human relations, because I think human relationships, everyone's in them. And so we might as well have a good understanding of how to have good human relationships. So, and that is like a way to bring together all three of the options. Do SL and HL courses review the same material until October of? Yeah, SL and HL, it's the same material, period, all the way through. Like, the courses are taught at HL, but you can take them SL. So but as far as the group sixes go, all of them are SL, except for the one, which is visual arts. The difference between SL visual arts and HL visual arts is how many pieces you do for that final exhibition, and how many pages you have to submit, how many slides you submit for your like your workbook, I think. Can you take 4 HL classes? Yes, you can take 4 HLs and 2 SLs. And again, you don't have to think about that until you are in October of your senior year. If we don't take an elective with the HL option, is there any wiggle room for someone to move in another class down to SL? Right, it does depend on your own personal schedule. So if you're in HL Spanish, say, or HL Japanese, or HL Chinese, if you're in HL Math route, that track, then you have wiggle room. The average student at ISB takes 3 HLs: HL Bio, HL English, and HL English is only taught HL, and then HL, and HL History. And then the 3 SLs are the 3 SLs, right? Which is traditionally math, your group 6, and then losing my mind. Oh, your language B. So SL Spanish or whatever, right? So it kind of depends. But some of you are going to have HL Math. Some of you are going to have HL Visual Arts. Some of you are going to have HL Language B. And you can choose to do 4 HLs or take one of these other things, SL. All right. Is Psych similar to global studies, where one is more focused on humans, whereas the other is more focused on politics and globally? No, they're not similar at all. Psychology and global politics, global studies is totally different. Global politics is literally you're studying politics. It's a rigorous academic study of political science. Versus psychology, you are studying what psychologists do. So it's like, if you think about what a psychologist does, a neuropsychologist, a cognitive psychologist, you're really trying to understand what is the work, what are the theories, versus global politics, where you're really trying to understand how do politics shape humans and human behavior, I guess. Is there any difference between SL and HL in general? There is in only one case, and that is biology. Biology and chemistry is where the difference is between HL and SL. The difference between HL and SL, it's a completely different exam. Okay. If you decide to register for SL Bio, you will get 3 easier examinations. HL Bio, 3 harder examinations, which are more time versus less time. Okay. Math, HL History, paper 1, paper 2, it's all the same. But paper 3, there is a paper 3 with your HL classes where there may not be with your SL classes. So that's the main difference. I guess HL Math is its own course. So you're going to have 3 different courses there too. Yeah, so HL Math is it's its own curriculum, its own content, its own everything. Okay, environmental systems is SL only SL. Sorry about that. Can you go from SL to HL in art? Again, it's all the same course until October of your senior year, where you make a decision. So am I going to SL or HL? Then you do that in concert with the teacher to kind of have a conversation about, here's what I've done so far as a junior. Here's where I am at the beginning of my senior year. What do you think? Should I SL? Should I HL? And they're going to help you with that. We don't offer HL chemistry. We only offer SL chem, so that you don't have to think about HL. I think it was SL only. I think the only one that was SL or HL. Yes, that's right. Visual art is HL weighted and SL. Nope, they're both weighted. If it says IB as part of your course title, they're both weighted grades. Bio is HL and SL. Is psychology less of the science, like anatomy of the brain, and more theories? Yeah, it really is theories. You're trying to look at theories, and they're all based on these psychological studies, and you have to analyze the studies as well to get a sense of if they're good studies or not. Good question. Do you get more credit for HL courses? It depends. This is an interesting question about, do you get credit? So every university has their own IB policy about credit. So you have to do your own research on the universities and colleges that you're looking for and looking into. If you're going to a public university in Oregon, for SL courses, if you can score a 4 or higher, SL, you get 4 to 6 credits. HL, 9 to 12 credits. That's a lot more credits. It's a lot more money. Okay, so that's interesting. So that some universities though will only take HLs. They will only give you HLs for credit. Some universities will give you no credit at all for IB anything, but this IB program is the thing that gets you into that university, right? So that's another way to think about it. So it's all about you doing your research. All you have to do is go to Google, type in Case Western University IB credits, and it'll tell you, boop, pull up the policy right there. Okay. All right. Another question. If you test an HL and you pass, you get more college. Yeah, I just answered that. Does IB visual art need a prereq? Scott, what's the prereq situation on IB visual art?
Well, for students to be successful in IB art, they need to have a pretty solid understanding of art. So they would need to have gone through Art 1, Art 2, minimally Art 1, Art 2, and either the Draw Paint 1, Draw Paint 2, or the digital imaging and sculpture. Minimally, that would be to set yourself up for success. Otherwise, you'd probably be a fish out of water trying to navigate the IB art classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Another question: how much of an academic leap is it from the MYP to the IB? I've been asked. We have a number of things in place at ISB to help make that leap less of a leap. It's more of a jump rather than a leap. Like we have IB seminar first semester, extra study hall in there for you to give you some skill sets for taking notes and getting organized and stuff. We have an extended essay course. There are things that we put in place to try to make this more accessible for you. The typical student at ISB tells us that the leap from 8th grade to 9th grade is a much bigger leap than the leap from sophomore year to junior year. So there is that. Okay, you want more money for HL. You want more money for HL. Do you mean for the scholar? It means, so colleges, the way it works, when you register for a college course, you pay by the credit. So if a credit is 3 classes, you have to pay 3 times however much the credit hour is. If it's a 5 credit class, you got to pay 5 times whatever that credit is. So if you do HL, you basically get the equivalent of 9 to 12 credit hours that you don't have to take, or that means you can take something else that's more in your major. That's what I mean by that. Okay, what HL? Okay, so you have to have 3 HL courses. One of them will be HL history. Beyond that, you have flexibility. I'm sorry, HL Lang and Lit. You have to take HL Lang and Lit. Everything else at ISB, you got some elbow room depending upon your personal schedule. Don't worry about weighted grades right now. Just keep doing school and do your best, and don't worry about it. It's a college thing. I heard that in some universities, you would get sophomore standing once you enter college. Is that the case in Oregon public schools? Right. So that's a good question. If you are planning on attending some schools, really pay attention to the IB diploma, and some schools don't. Some schools are more interested in what's your IB course that you took and what's the grade you got for that course, and we'll give you college credit for that. Some schools are like, what? You got a 30-point IB diploma? Dude, we're going to give you money. We're going to give you sophomore standing, and we are going to give you a parking place. Whoa. Like, so it kind of depends on what the school is. Again, if you want to know what the IB policy is, type in the university, type in that, and wait and see. Remember, it's the IB diploma, which is getting you into college and helping you be successful in college. So getting money for college is only a piece of it, right? So that's something else to think about. Another question, will the format of the exams be digital? Oh, I have no idea. I doubt it. We don't have exams this year because of COVID. There you go. But some schools are doing exams this year, and they are with pen on paper. For global politics, what's typically covered? Is it looking at history and historical? No, it is looking at, there are some like political philosophers that you probably will study, but it's current events. You're really looking at current events. In order to understand a current event, you will have to look at some context, some background, but it's not history, it's political. It is political science. It is a social science course with its own theories and its own approaches and academic discipline and all of that. Okay. All right, so 12 credits, the maximum you can get at any university. 12 credits, no, not any university. You have to do the research to find out your school. Okay, I'm not answering any more college classes. Go to your university, look up a class, and see what their IB policy is, and that'll tell you the story. I'm done talking about college stuff. We're worried about what are you registering for next year, period. That's your work. That's what you want to think about. Will teachers be helping us apply to scholarships? Sure, you can ask teachers for letters of recommendation for scholarships, but really your counselors are the people who are going to be helping you with that. And pay attention to Canvas, because I regularly am putting stuff out there. All of us are putting stuff out there. And there are so many ways to get scholarships, but you have to take the bull by the horns and do that work to do that application stuff. Will IB exams for our grade take the fact that, yes, they will. I believe so. They're certainly taking into account that COVID happened with our current seniors and our current juniors, for sure. I assume it'll be the case for you guys as well. Is it possible to see the curriculum for each group 6 course? Yeah, it is possible. It is on the ISB website. In fact, I will show you where you can look. Take a look, everybody. Look where I'm going. I'm going here to the International School of Beaverton. I'm going to academics here. And I'm going to the IB diploma program. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see there's a whole thing on University of Recognition, IBO resource library. And here you can see IB diploma program curriculum, and you can find out stuff there. This is, you'll find something called subject briefs, and you can look up here the subject briefs for each of these different, all of these different things. Okay, and that'll be how you find out what each of these courses are. All right, stop share. Back to the chat. Are there any more questions? Can we take HL English but test in SL? Nope, we only offer HL. You have to test in HL. Is it? That's it. I don't see any other questions. I hit them all. Okay, where can we find the slideshow? I'm going to take this PowerPoint. I'm also going to take this slideshow, and I'm going to, or this Zoom, and we're going to get it into Canvas for you to access it. The one thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put into the chat the link for the form right there. There it is. And that will be in the form. That will be the forecasting form for you. Some of the stuff you've already done, but still we need you to do it again to make sure. All right. I'm here for questions. I'm going to stop the recording.